Hey everyone, welcome to the 54th Animated Girls Profile Confidential. I want to talk about a character become very synonymous with the community. In fact, she's become one of the breakout stars of the Sabrina-online webcomic series. And I'm surprised she doesn't have her own. Well, technically she does, but let's just say it's not that what she is involved in. Her spin-off is more for the adult fan base, pure fan base, and I'm talking of course about the character you see here, Zig-Zag. Now, Zig-Zag was introduced, I think, around the second to third year of the Sabrina-online webcomic. Basically, she was introduced as Sabrina's new employer. Long story short, Sabrina had lost a previous job because she was let go, and an ad opened up in her area, which is Ohio, by the way, for a web designer at a movie studio. However, what Sabrina didn't know until she got there was the movie studio was actually an adult movie studio. Long story short, Sabrina gets hired on, and Zig-Zag begins a very close friendship, or at least, she starts to develop a close friendship with Sabrina as more than just an employee. Even to the point that, Zig-Zag, on numerous occasions, up until the finale, tried her best to get with Sabrina. Yeah, basically Zig-Zag is portrayed as being a bisexual character. Her species is a zebra-tiger-like species. Basically, she's she's a hybrid of a skunk and a tiger, or a zebra, something like that. I gotta look. I think it's a zebra and a tiger, or a skunk and a tiger. Anyway, long story short, the only time she ever really tried to get it on with Sabrina was when she took Sabrina with her on a conference call, at least a conference trip, and ended up sharing a hotel room with her. And, things didn't go the way Zig-Zag had hoped, but But here's the thing, Zig-Zag wasn't angry about it. Basically, Zig-Zag, as time went on, explained, why she's never really held a grudge against Sabrina for kind of socking her in the face and defending herself from Zig-Zag when Zig-Zag tried to come on to Sabrina in that hotel room. Unfortunately, karma works the other way around, because as much as Sabrina tried to avoid sharing a bed with Zig-Zag, she ended up doing so, but not unintentionally. See, Zig-Zag's thing is she can't sleep alone, so she's got to have somebody with her, whether it's to do the thing or not do the thing. And she decided she was going to share a bed. She was going to try to sleep on her own in the same room, but she couldn't. She ended up sleeping in the same bed with Sabrina, but it was Sabrina that actually ended up kissing Zig-Zag unintentionally, because Zig-Zag was thinking of her boyfriend, Richard, RC. So, yeah, long story short, Zig-Zag has grown as a character, and Sabrina has accepted her as more than just her boss, but now also as one of her best friends. How is this? Well, even though Zig-Zag has at times, and even now, tried to flirt with Sabrina, even though Sabrina's married to RC, Richard, she has gone above and beyond for Sabrina. She's taken Sabrina out to get a new car when her /car broke down. She took Sabrina out shopping, and just a day out on the town, day in, night out, day/night out on the town, stuff like that. He was even kind enough to drive Sabrina home after Sabrina drank a little too much. The point is, in the decade that Zig-Zag has been in the Sabrina online comic, she has definitely grown as a character and matured as a character. That's true. Zigzag still has her desires and her wants and her fantasies and all that. Because, she's the head of an adult movie studio, and well, you know, that answers your question. The thing is, though, even though she has wants and desires and fantasies and wants to make these things all come true, and even make it come true for some of her newer employees and newest stars, that she has come out and said she looks at as more than just as employees and stars and all that, but as friends and family. Even though Zigzag has these wants and desires, she's always putting her friends, her family, the family she has at Zig-Zag Studios, her co-stars, her workers, her friends, she puts them first before anything else. Now, can she have a vindictive side? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. She can have a vindictive side. When she learned about the internet, one of the first lessons she learned, one of the first things she encountered were trolls. Basically, people that had gone on the internet and basically were calling her bad names. So instead of doing what was more subtle, and that's basically report it, she decided to take it into her own hands, and well, she went on a little journey across town, if not cross country, to take care of the matter. It was after this that she ended up taking some anger management sessions, first in a group and then privately, and let's just say she kind of thanked the therapist in her own unique way after the lessons were done. Put it that way. But it was also during this journey that she encountered another character that's come on board called Helen Dish. Now, Helen Dish was the mother of one of the trolls that had basically berated Zigzag for who she was online. But surprisingly, we find out that Helen isn't exactly, we find out that there's a little bit more to Helen than meets the eye. As a matter of fact, we find out that there's more to Helen because if you just read the regular comic strip involving her, find out that she and Zigzag actually got it on, if you know what I mean, but we don't see it. Of course, this being a webcomic aimed at adolescent teenagers, junior, senior teenagers, college, and even young adults, we get an indication that Zigzag and Helen got it on, but we don't see it. However, from what I understand, Eric Schwartz, through his Patreon, because he has two Patreons. Eric Schwartz has a Patreon for Sabrina-online to continue the series there, as well as he has a separate one called ES Productions, where he does separate, more mature comic strips and pictures of the characters from Sabrina-online and Fur After Dark. One of the webcomics he's doing is called from what I understand, is called Adventure Begins at Home. And from what I've been told, this webcomic that he's working on at Patreon is supposed to take place in between is supposed to be sort of a midquill, if you will, that takes place between that comic strip where Helen meets Zigzag, and then later on, Helen's son Bobby comes in, sees that Zigzag's there, and then Zigzag in her own unique, subtle way, kind of whispers to Bobby that her and her mom did it, if you know what I mean. So, which kind of shakes Bobby a little bit. But the point is, what I'm getting at is, from what I understand, the Adventure Begins at Home comic that he's doing on Patreon, from what I've been told, takes place between that comic strip, takes place between when Zigzag showed up to the end of the comic strip where Zigzag tells Bobby what she did, and then Helen comments that she's never felt so good since or before the divorce she had from Bobby's father. So yeah, let's just say during her journey to kind of get some revenge, get some redemption, Zigzag had a little fun on the way, and possibly met a new employee, or star friend, if you will, that she can bring into the studios. Another thing about Zig-Zag, though, that, like I said, has shown that she's grown as a character via the Sabrina-online comics, is she's very protective. Like I mentioned, she had to take some anger management classes and all that. But it wasn't just because of what she had done seeking out these trolls, no. It was also because she came to the aid of Sabrina. You see, one of the story arcs that was kind of left a little bit on a cliffhanger for about a week or so was the fact that Sabrina had been attacked by a mugger after work. It's the same mugger that she and Richard had encountered several seasons before. So, long story short, after Sabrina was attacked, this scared Zig-Zag, this upset Zig-Zag, and she decided to take matters into her own hands. And basically, she found the guy, beat the crap out of him. Of course, she got arrested for it, but she was let off with the fact that she had to serve community service and take anger management classes as part of it. So yeah, even though she was kind of in the right and the wrong for what she did, you know, she basically showed that she is more than just, you know, the head of a pornographic studio and one of its top stars, that she is very protective of those around her. Because like I said earlier, she looks at those around her as her friends and family. Overall, Zig-Zag, to me, is a character that, even though she was created not by Eric Schwartz, but by Max Blackrabbit, somebody else, shows me that when allowed to be put into the hands of another artist or writer, can be handled very well, can be done correctly, can be written correctly, can be written properly and with respect. Because even though you may know and understand, oh, this is what she does for a living, you know, that she's not really all that bad. You know, that she may have certain wants and desires, but aside from that, she's actually a very good individual, a very good-hearted character. So, overall, that's really all I can say on Zig-Zag. Again, we do see her in the Sabrina-online comics that are being continued via Patreon, as well as we also get to see what happened between her and Helen, from what I understand, in the Adventure Begins at Home webcomic, which both are on Patreon. Like I said, Sabrina Online's on Patreon to continue the series there, and in color. And the ES Productions, which is Eric Schwartz Productions, on Patreon. That's where, from what I've been told, you can find Adventure Begins at Home. So, that's really all I can say here on the 54th edition of the Animated Girls Profile Confidential. You guys let me know what you think down below. Comment if you like. I am out. I gotta get ready for work. Peace out.